And in the top left-hand side, representing Clash, of course, it is our blue Zerg Reynor.
Can you even see like what's going on there? Like, is that a bed? I don't know.
Well, in Reynor's back, I mean.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what's making the red scary. Like,
yeah, I really don't know actually. I feel like I've seen Reynor's camera many times, and now I can't actually think. I feel like he's usually just sitting in like a very standard normal room.
Right? Yeah, it's a big surprise for me. Maybe we missed out. Maybe it's been that way for the couple of past days. I don't know.
Yeah.
When I go through the VODs, I gotta tell you, I'm not usually paying attention to the heaven and hell dynamic of Reynor's camera.
Well, you mean you don't watch the first 2 minutes of the game to like, really overanalyze the cameras of the players and figure out why they're playing their best or not?
Actually, that's the only part of the builds that I watch, the first 2 minutes. And then I predict everything that happens off of that. I'm just that good. Oh, no, yeah. It's a chance, right? ZVZ, it's a chance for Bly to do something weird, but ZVZ is both not what it used to be at this point 4+ years ago. It's actually been a while since ZVZ has really stabilized and been pretty fun. I mean, maybe except that one time where Niduses were everywhere. That kind of sucked. But otherwise, like, I don't know, it just actually didn't just become Roach versus Roach. It wasn't just like, oh, one Baneling hit me and now I'm dead. It's really stabilized. So it's not really that potent of a matchup, I feel, a volatile matchup. And then, yeah, second of all, that Reynor is at that point where you have to have the highest of knowledge of the game in order to trick him absolutely correctly. Like, I don't think this, for instance, what Bly is doing here, is going to trick Reynor at any point. If Bly wanted to try, I don't think he'd be tricked in thinking, oh, this is a regular game. Like, obviously not. Third hatch is not there. Reynor sees that. Ling's blocking the ramp, a little suspicious. Reynor should know it's a lair.
Yeah, Reynor's already suspicious of Bly in general anyway, because he brought like a drone out the front to watch for like the drone Ling sort of rush on the left side. So he's really, like, from the very start of this game said, I do not want to die to anything silly. And, he's already picking up some info here, right? Blocked from going into the main base. The idea is there, right? And I think Reynor's already going to be guessing a little bit of what's going on, like you said. And he's even going to send an Overlord toward the main just to get some extra confirmation.
Mm-hmm. So you do want to see if it's a faster Spire, which would be very, very dangerous. And then you want to see if it's a Nidus Swarm, which, I mean, is dangerous in a different way, right? Like the Muta thing, they could just flood you and you could have trouble defending a flood of Lings. The Roach Nidus thing, well, as soon as they figure out between the two options, there's a third option of macro, I guess, that you could be guessing, but it's Bly, so would you ever guess that? Yeah, if you're seeing it's a Nidus Swarm, shouldn't you just be able to defend? Now, Reynor has set himself up into a unique position against what is going to be a Nidus Roach build, which is he's grabbing +1 Carapace. Now, that's not actually going to affect this Nidus defense. He's got to be able to find the Nidus and kill it, because I'm a little concerned that Reynor thinks that this might just be like one of the macro builds, go for the third. Okay, no, Lings are in the main. Never mind.
That was actually perfect though, right? Because he has nothing in the main base at all, and the Lings arrive into the corner as the Nidus spawns. I mean, that couldn't have been timed any better if Reynor tried it, if he knew it was going to come down. So, yeah, good idea of just, covering his bases. And these 3 Lings in the Nat are definitely the talking point, because the Nidus is just not getting up. The one on the outside of the base is now going down as well. And Bly is just having his Niduses denied. And that's going to be a very sad start of this game for Bly.
And what really sucks is that if his Nidus Swarm had gotten up at any point, even one that's like, yeah, exactly where it is now, even that one might have been scary if it was the first Nidus Swarm to get up. And Reynor was, at the time of the first Nidus Swarm, he was actually still building drones. If that was actually the situation, it's a little bit scary. Is the Lings aren't actually going to be good enough? But now, 2-3 Niduses later, it's not that scary. In fact, we're actually closing in on Reynor almost getting +1 Carapace, which will, of course, affect his Roaches that he's finally on top of as well. So, I mean, it's still maybe going to be a bit difficult, but I believe there's a Spine Crawler being repositioned.
Yeah, I mean, the Queens aren't here yet either, right? It's just really tough, as now these Roaches are going to get surrounded, so no way out. Extra Roach is about to be joined the fight from Reynor. Here come the Queens. I mean, the transfusions help a lot, and so Reynor does have to back away from that. And this Spine Crawler, well, it's going to go down. A Roach that spawns in that third base, saved by the transfusions. That's a good job, but Reynor just needs a little bit more time for a couple of units to spawn. I still thoroughly believe he's got this. With the Carapace up for an advantage, that means his Lings are good. It means his Roaches are a little bit better than his opponents. I do just like this overall here for Reynor. He's playing it patiently, right? What's coming in from Bly? Nothing at all. There's an extra Queen and a few Roaches, but they're not even part of the fight because of where they're spawning, so it doesn't really help the fact that the Lings have surrounded everything else. Niduses have not been enough for Bly. He has Corrosive Files rain down, and Reynor will run through and pretty much just catch anything else that tries to pop out this Nidus.
Yeah, that is going to be game. Bly, although he is certainly a guy who likes to stick in a game and play through and maybe swap to mutas and try and play it out, he actually has nothing else on the way. So, I mean, he's going to go for more roaches. Yeah, I guess that's an option. If he had a Spire on the way, I'd be like, well, that's classic. That maybe, but he just has roaches. So you could see, like, at the time of even that fourth Nidus actually on the front lines, the armor supplies were a little bit similar, but positioning was not ideal, and yeah, the +1 characters had kicked in. But you can see that, I mean, again, if that first Nidus had gotten up, like, that's a little bit scarier, a scarier game than I thought Reynor was going to allow. But it turns out he did have everything under control, and now it is back to scouting Bly and figuring out what his tricks are. So I would say, like, the two options are basically, is he going for a fast Spire, or is he trying to play out a macro game? The all-in option seems like it'd be kind of silly. He'd cross the map, even if he did have roach speed, which Bly does not. Okay, so there's the Spire.
Pretty much the only choice he really has. He's super far behind. There's not really, the Spire is like the best comeback mechanic in ZVZ, basically. So, yeah, if he's gonna have a chance, I think the Spire's got to be it. Problem is, Reynor's in the main, he's in the natural, he sees the Spire, he's stopping mine from happening. And I mean, these are little things which are just, putting Reynor into an even better position if he even needed to be in a better one. So, I mean, the chances for Bly to turn this around were already close to 0. Now I'm going to say they absolutely are 0. What possibly can you do as Bly to make this work? You've lost 8 drones to these Zerglings at this point.
Yeah. Build enough mutas to win, and that's going to be difficult to do because he's going to start off with about 3 mutas. His spin rules are a little bit limited, so
I mean, it's always a bad thing when you're going to be limited on minerals to build your mutas than gas, right? And that feels as though that might be the issue for Bly here. Is Reynor just going to max out on roaches, or maybe not even max out, but as he hits roach speed, he could maybe move across. He's actually going to build a Spire of his own. So he could just go like Roach Corruptor. Obviously, he's going to have a lot more roaches. The Corruptors provide an answer to the Mutalist, so his roaches on primary targets, and so they can sit around on the ground and actually deal damage. I mean, Reynor playing this out extremely safely, but in a way that should still be okay.
I was like, who is it?
I know, that's like a while to show up as well, right?
It did, yes.
Definitely felt as though it was just on pause for a while. I was going to come back any moment, as Indy is the culprit.
At least it wasn't like yesterday with the... Did you watch the exact moment it disconnected?
I saw the clip.
Yeah, I had heard about it, and then I walked back and watched it. Oh, wow, that really was the most terrible time. This game is pretty much over. I don't think Indy is going to have problems explaining how over this is to his stream. So, yeah. The Muta option here from Bly, it is the best comeback, as already said. But Reynor is actually doing something that I think really does, in this position, I think really solidifies your win. You could argue that going into Hydras, maybe they pop out at the wrong place, they're getting picked off, maybe he feels contained because he's always scared, do I have enough muta or enough anti-air? But with the Corruptors that will pop out, he just never has to be scared. Even though they're a little bit later and Bly will get a couple opportunities to hit some mineral lines, maybe, the attack will be, I'm guessing it's going to be a maxed out Reynor versus a 120 supply Bly.
Yeah, I mean, the Roach Corrupt is designed as like an all-in a way, because if you do lose your Corruptors, you can't really rebuild, right? So you're almost all-in with like a double supply advantage. So it takes the initiative across the Bly side of the map, and I think that's why it's just a super safe way to do this. Turns out he's not even going to wait for this Spire to come up, because the Roach Ravage is just going to... I mean, this goes against everything that Reynor's doing, but you know what, Reynor, I get it. You're very far ahead, but... I mean, yeah, in that case, why have we set up the entire Spire thing, I mean, I guess for safety in the end, I mean, there's no wrong decision. That's the thing, as he even finds this rich Vespene-based gas. That's obviously not going to go up. Yeah, this is going to be game, and Reynor grabs game number 1 of this best of 3 to absolutely nobody's surprise.
Right. The only surprise, the only tiniest little bit of a surprise, was that the first defense was pretty much based off of finding the Nidus. That seems like it's a little bit risky for him to do, but he did it. He found the Nidus, he found the second one, and that was good enough as well. So that is not tricky enough to tear down Reynor. And then we move on to Everdream, which has been, of course, notorious for its early pools in the past, but it seems like that's maybe over and done with. But maybe not for Bly. Maybe that's his only shot. Hope that Reynor messes up.
I was gonna say, do you just go for it as Bly, even if it's really obvious, and you just try and hope that it's the micro? Like, is that Bly's best chance to say that if I do a super micro-intensive build, that's my best hope that he messes up here? Because that's how he played game 1 as well, right? He didn't try and play like a longer game or anything. He's just like, I hope he doesn't figure out it's denied. I hope he doesn't deny it. To me, if you're willing to take that chance in game 1, I almost want to believe you just take that chance in game 2 and pull the drones and see if you can make it happen. I don't think it works necessarily, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe Bly has something different up his sleeve. Like maybe he can come out with like a Rich Vespine gas-based build or something really crazy. Like I don't think that works either, but I'm just trying to get creative because I think that's what Bly's gonna have to do here, because in a straight-up game, Reynor should just have this under control. So as we swap player colors around, we're gonna go into Everdream, and I guess we'll find out Bly's fate.
It was kind of crazy. It's just like how good Reynor is. Like this probably sounds like the lamest broadcast ever. Like why are we casting someone who's GM versus like bronze? Like I'm sure that's in the chat right now. But it is funny. Like Reynor is actually just that good. Bly is a force to be reckoned with for most other pro gamers. I would say the big dogs of Europe, so basically the top 4, Clem, Here, Marine, Cyril, Reynor, he's probably not a force to be reckoned with. All those guys probably looks like this. But everyone else, yes, you're supposed to be scared of Bly. Even, a laser could be like, oh man, that was just a stupid moment. But Reynor is just like, we're painting this picture that Reynor could never ever in 1,000 years be surprised by this guy. And I still think it's true. If Reynor doesn't pull first here, I would be shocked because Bly is actually going to go for the 12th pull.
He is indeed, as we have in the top right-hand side. We'll see what build he goes for. The blue Zerg from Clash is Reynor.
In the bottom left, going for the 12th pull, he is Bly. You know, Morty, sometimes it's so on the nose, it's like a punch to the nose. You know? Like, it's so obvious, it works. Maybe this one.
Okay, I mean, Reynor just went pool first, so we can pretty safely say that the second game almost ended. 45 seconds, pretty fast game. It's so difficult to mess this up as Reynor when you've got pool first, because it's possible. I've seen someone lose with it, but it really requires you to like make so many micro errors. You make so many bad decisions in a row. You really just have to get completely flustered. And I don't understand any reason why Reynor would have to get himself flustered here in this game. I guess the question that remains is, how does Bly approach this? Does he pull every single drone? Is he going to leave any at home? He's going to pull absolutely everything. So, yeah, he's just looking to kind of forcify it almost immediately, which I feel like is almost worse against the pool first as well, because it's going to be Lings out pretty quickly, so Reynor can fight straight away. Yeah.
And he's not doing any attempt to hide, right? You don't really want to. It's about speed, but when it's speed against someone who already has a pool, it's not like you're really hitting them that much. Feels like you're not hitting them that much harder, actually. So Spine does go down. Lings are on the way.
Reynor's cam has just gone into full-on hell mode, by the way. He's just like, I see how this is, Bly. Welcome to hell. Pool first against your 12 pool. This is your worst nightmare.
You're right about that. The drones are pulled in counter, and they don't even, I don't really think they have to even protect the Spine Crawler, but of course, if it finishes, it will be the KO move. There's the fight, a little bit of drone drill, and then just let it fly. And yeah, Reynor won that. Cancels the Spine.